The HOA emergency meeting had devolved into a courtroom cosplay, complete with a plastic gavel, folding chairs, and a charcuterie board sweating under fluorescent lights when I rolled in the steel cart. On top sat a banker's box labeled Deed plus Receipts plus Whoops in thick black marker. The HOA president, Lenora Pike, clutched her pearls hard enough to leave crescents in her palms. "Malcolm," she hissed through clenched teeth, "squatters don't get presentation time." Then the uniformed deputy beside her coughed and said in a calm voice, "Ma'am, the squatter brought the county recorder." The look on her face was priceless, like someone had just told her the caviar was actually fish eggs. I'm Malcolm Rourke. I bought a quiet glass and stone place in Azure Bluffs because the realtor promised privacy, mountain views, and no drama. Enter Lenora. Picture a Pilates instructor who read one Robert's Rules PDF and now thinks she's the Supreme Court. She's the self-coronated queen of the Azure Bluffs Estates Association. I'm a private guy who works from home, cooks, jogs at dawn, and waves at dogs. She decided I didn't wave enough to be luxury material. Apparently, there's a waving quota I missed in the fine print. The house hunt had been exhausting. I'd spent months looking at properties, most of them cookie-cutter McMansions with zero character. When I found Lot 18, it felt right. Clean lines, natural stone, floor-to-ceiling windows that let in the morning light. The previous owner had been an architect who'd poured his soul into every detail. I paid cash, well, a wire transfer, but you know what I mean. No mortgage, no liens, just a clean transaction. The title company did their thing, the county recorded the deed, and I moved in on a Thursday. By Friday, Lenora had already made her first appearance at my door. Lenora's opening salvo came in the form of a letter citing insufficient curb aura, whatever that meant. Then came another one about a non-conforming mailbox finish. My mailbox was black. Standard, boring black. Apparently, it should have been brushed nickel to match the neighborhood aesthetic. Then, the trifecta arrived, a triple threat of absurdity. First, an unapproved vehicle complaint about my paid-off electric sedan. Second, an unregistered garden sculpture violation for a rock, just a regular rock I liked. And third, economic incongruity, which is HOA speak for you look too broke to breathe our air. She started popping by with a clipboard at 6 in the morning, counting my Amazon packages like an amateur customs officer. I'm talking full tally marks on a sheet of paper. One morning, I caught her photographing my recycling bin. "Just documenting non-compliance," she said sweetly, as if that was a normal thing to say. Drones appeared overhead, hers, hovering low enough to smell the rosemary in my garden. I'd see them in the evening, buzzing around my property line like mechanical mosquitoes. Rumors sprouted like weeds in the neighborhood Facebook group. "He's renting rooms by the hour," some said. "He's crypto-rich but also poor," others whispered. "He's a front for something shady," a few speculated. My favorite one was "he is the pool boy." I don't even have a pool. Some neighbors started crossing the street when they saw me jogging. Others would slow down their cars and stare. Mrs. Chen from 2 houses down asked me point-blank if I was in witness protection. I laughed, but she didn't. She was serious. The situation escalated when Lenora started leaving notes on my car. Little yellow sticky notes with messages like, "Parking enforcement notified," even though I was parked in my own driveway. Or "Vehicle inspection overdue," which wasn't even true. My registration was current. My inspection sticker was valid. I kept every single note. Something told me I'd need them later. My gut instinct has always been pretty reliable. Lenora filed a formal complaint to the HOA council claiming I was a long-term squatter exploiting a clerical error. The letter was 4 pages long, single-spaced, and read like a legal thriller written by someone who'd watched too many courtroom dramas. She accidentally CC'd the county code office, the sheriff's department, and because she believes all fonts are laws, the mortgage servicer of 3 other homes in the neighborhood. Those families were not happy when they got mysterious letters asking them to verify their mortgage status. One of them, a lawyer named David, actually called me to ask what was going on. That's when I realized Lenora had made enemies before. Then she taped a neon orange notice to vacate to my front door, signed Azure Bluff Security in official-looking letters. "We don't have security." We have a retired beagle named Admiral Naps who sleeps in the clubhouse most days. The notice had fake case numbers, fake statute citations, and a deadline of 72 hours to vacate or face arrest. It looked official enough to scare someone who didn't know better. Lucky for me, I know better. The sheriff's deputy who came out to investigate recognized the forged notice immediately. His name was Deputy Martinez, and he'd apparently dealt with overzealous HOA boards before. He took one look at the notice, took photos from multiple angles, and called the county to verify the property records. Within 20 minutes, he had confirmation that I was the legal owner. "You know this is a crime, right?" he asked me. I nodded. "Good. Because we're going to need you to press charges." Suddenly, we had a very official group text chain where Lenora's lies faced daylight for the first time. I'm private, not passive. I rolled out my paperwork like a general deploying troops. Purchase deed, title insurance, wire confirmations, property tax receipts going back 11 months, the Architectural Review Committee approval she never processed, and emails she'd conveniently misplaced. I'd kept everything. Every receipt, every email, every certified letter. My filing system would make a librarian weep with joy. The county recorder confirmed I'd owned Lot 18 free and clear since last November. The deputy pointed at Lenora's homemade notice and asked gently, "Why'd you impersonate a government officer?" Her lawyer stared at the carpet like it was a fascinating creek. The poor guy looked like he wanted to dissolve into the floor. Meanwhile, my actual lawyer, a sharp woman named Patricia who specialized in property law, slid a second folder across the table containing meeting minutes showing Lenora had authorized fines that didn't exist under our bylaws. Fines for things like aesthetic non-compliance and community spirit deficiency. It was like watching a Jenga tower realize gravity existed. Patricia had done her homework. She'd obtained copies of every HOA meeting for the past 3 years, interviewed former board members who'd quit because of Lenora, and compiled a list of other homeowners who'd been targeted with bogus fines. Turns out, I wasn't the first. I was just the first one with enough documentation and stubbornness to fight back. There was a couple who'd been fined for their daughter's pink bicycle. A retired veteran who'd been cited for flying the American flag. A single mom who'd been harassed for parking her minivan in her own driveway because it wasn't luxury brand adjacent. We scheduled a special meeting at the clubhouse. Half the neighborhood showed up for blood, the other half came for the Costco mini quiches. The room was packed. People were standing along the walls, sitting on the floor, craning their necks to see. The energy was electric. You could feel the anticipation. I wheeled in the banker's box and, with the grace of a smug PowerPoint presentation, clicked through my evidence. Slide 1 displayed the recorded deed with the county seal visible. Big, official, impossible to dispute. Slide 2 showed screenshots of her drone footage requests under her personal Venmo account, $25 for surveillance snacks. Someone in the back row gasped. Slide 3 contained an email where she called me too fiscally aspirational for Azure Bluffs. The room started murmuring. Slide 4 was the kicker. Her special assessment funds quietly routed to an HOA debit card used at a spa called Lash Cathedral. Receipts for eyelash extensions, facial treatments, and something called a luxury brow experience. The room inhaled like a single organism. You could have heard a pin drop. The treasurer, a mild-mannered accountant named Gary, stood up and resigned mid-bite of a quiche. "I didn't know," he stammered. "I trusted her with the accounts. I didn't know." Slide 5 showed more receipts. Dinners at expensive restaurants, all charged to the HOA card. A weekend trip to a resort spa, classified as a professional development conference. Online shopping sprees for home decor, labeled as clubhouse improvements, even though nothing new ever appeared in the clubhouse. The deputy stood up, collected the forged notice and a written statement, and escorted Lenora outside for a chat that sounded very Miranda Rights-ish. Through the window, we could see her gesturing wildly, her voice rising even though we couldn't hear the words. Deputy Martinez remained calm, taking notes, nodding occasionally. When they came back inside, Lenora's face was blotchy and red. Lenora lost the presidency, the debit card, and the drone pilot privileges in one afternoon. The board voted to refund every junk fine she'd spun from her imagination. The county filed charges for impersonation of a government officer and fraud. A judge issued an injunction that she stay at least 200 feet away from my non-conforming rock. For community service, she now stands at the Azure Bluffs gate 3 Saturdays a month in a safety vest, holding a sign that reads, "Ask me about fiduciary duty." The criminal charges carried a potential sentence of up to 3 years and a $10,000 fine. When the judge read the sentencing recommendation, Lenora's face went white as printer paper. She stammered something about a misunderstanding, that she was only trying to protect property values, that she never meant any harm. But the gavel came down with finality. 3 years suspended pending completion of community service and restitution, plus the full $10,000 fine payable to the HOA General Fund. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water, no sound coming out, just pure shock and disbelief frozen on her face.